Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Before we talk about our first alert weather day, we are continuing our coverage of a fire in Corbin. Officials say that fire burned for several hours, but it is finally out. WYMT's Alyssa Williams is live with an update from the scene. Alyssa?
Thanks, Steve. As you can see behind me here, the fire at Bolton's Towing in Corbin has been put out about an hour ago, but you can still see some of the charred remains left behind by the fire. Officials say there were at least 30 cars impacted by the fire. Crews say the smoke could be seen from as far as 7 or 8 miles away. The fire happened in the junkyard for Bolton's Towing. Firefighters say there is always a concern in a junkyard because of the gas inside of the cars. Crews say an insurance company will be investigating, but firefighters say the blaze has been caused by another company that was cutting parts from the cars.
We were told that the possibility of the cause of the fire was a company that had been hired to cut some of the cars for, I don't know whether they were cutting parts off of them or cutting them down so they could be taken to the scrapyard.
Several departments responded to the fire, including West Knox Volunteer Fire Rescue, Corbin Fire Department, Laurel County Fire Department, and Laurel County Ambulance Services and Emergency Management. In Corbin, Alyssa Williams, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, good to see the fire is out, though, and no injuries reported. Alyssa, thank you very much.
Well, a few of us this evening are dealing with a couple of pop-up downpours, especially as you head into Southwest Virginia. But we do face the possibility for more widespread strong to severe thunderstorms as we head into the day tomorrow. Our first alert weather day in place for our election day on Tuesday. Overall, it's a level 2, slight risk of severe weather, mainly along and south of the Mountain Parkway corridor. The greatest risk is going to be for the potential for damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Some localized flash flooding also not out of the question. The tornado threat and the large hail threat low, but like we always say, never zero. Outside now watching a couple of storms further on to our south. If you're headed down 27 into the Volunteer State, you might have to deal with those. Big Sandy's cooler. They had more clouds today, closer to the 80s, closer to Lake Cumberland. Your forecast first this evening as we head through the next 12 hours. Some of those showers could move in as early as overnight, but otherwise we await strong to severe storms tomorrow. Those details in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. A Southern Kentucky teacher is being investigated over an assignment that resulted in a student dressing up as a member of the Ku Klux Klan. The teacher works at Pulaski County's Southern Middle School. We are told the teacher gave a student permission to dress up as a controversial figure from the 1860s in Tennessee. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the action taken against the teacher.
Students at Southern Middle School had an assignment to dress up as a historical figure. One chose Nathan Bedford Forrest, the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Pulaski school leaders say they learned the teacher approved it.
What was going through my mind is this is nothing new. This is stuff that this country endorses. It's happened in Pittsburgh school. It happened in California. It's happened in Texas.
But Pulaski County Superintendent Patrick Richardson says he's disappointed and embarrassed by this. In a statement, he further says he would hope that our school and community realize that this does not represent the character of our students and staff at Southern Middle School or our district as a whole. The teacher has been suspended pending a personnel investigation. The situation will be reported to the Educational Professional Standards Board.
I think there needs to be a large-scale initiative for sensitivity training. It should be mandatory.
Nathan Bedford Forrest was a Confederate Army general and first wizard of the KKK from 1867 to 1869. A bust representing him was recently removed from the Tennessee state capitol.
What's your definition of a heroic historical figure? And then would he have done the same thing if someone said, I want to come as Charles Manson? I want to come as Hitler.
The video at the center of this, we are told, incorrectly identifies the teacher. We have chosen, therefore, not to air this video. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Pulaski County Superintendent also says he is deeply apologetic for the situation and is taking immediate actions to address the matter. The Johnson County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help finding a missing woman. Take a look at your screen. This is 38-year-old Nikki Blanton Adkins. Police say she was last seen on April 12th and last posted on social media on April 23rd. Adkins is described as being 5'5" tall with brown eyes and brown hair. Officers say she could be driving a gray Dodge Journey with Kentucky plates. If you have any information, you're asked to call 606-789-3411. Grant and property acquisition is what Floyd County officials are working toward to help flood survivors. The Community Development Block Grant will give people up to $200,000 to help make repairs on their property. Campbell's Grocery and Deli owner Anna O'Neill says her store goes back generations, which is why she finds it important to get funding to help her store.
Really, when it comes down to closing this store, it's kind of an emotional thing for me because I'm the third generation on this business. Wow. My grandparents had it, my mother had it, and so, you know, it's been an emotional thing.
O'Neill says people have helped along the way, but the store needs a lot more work. Tomorrow is primary election day, and voters in Kentucky are asked to report any suspected election fraud to the Attorney General's office. Dr. Stephen Voss says election fraud used to be a serious issue more than 100 years ago, but technology and records have improved, cutting down on fraud.
You'll find examples of someone who cast a vote they weren't supposed to cast, or somebody who voted twice, but nowhere near at the level that it would influence all but like a tie vote.
If you do see something strange at the polls, you can call the election fraud hotline at 1-800-328-8683 or vote. It is active 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On Election Day, it will be fully staffed from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., the same time the polls are open. Of course, the polls close here in the East at 6 p.m. Prosecutors will review any tips submitted. Somerset Mayor and GOP gubernatorial candidate Alan Keck made several stops in eastern Kentucky today. Keck made his last-minute pitches for governor in London, Manchester, Pikeville, and Jackson. He shared two issues at the top of his list if elected governor.
We're going to solve this workforce crisis. You know, we've got to get more people back to work. We call it sliding scale benefit, where we take care of the working poor instead of paying those unwilling to work. The other thing, though, is we're going to push pro-family policies. I want Kentucky to be the leader in America, not just in pro-life policy, but pro-family policies, where families are getting off to the right start.
Keck says even if the election does not go his way, he is proud to be continuing to serve Somerset. Republican candidate Mike Harmon is also traveling across the region as his campaign comes to a close. Harmon started his tour in the Kentucky River Valley and then traveled through the Cumberland Valley today. He said this race has proven to him that people need more help than ever.
One of the things that I did learn that maybe I didn't hear as much in some of the other races, you know, when I come to the East, the people in the East tell me they're forgotten. When I travel to the West, the people in the West tell me they're forgotten. So it's important that we don't forget any aspect of our state.
Harmon says getting out and talking to people will give him the best chance to win. And we hope to hear from some of the other gubernatorial candidates who were in other parts of the state coming up tonight at 11. As we are now about 11 hours away from the polls opening for Election Day, if you have not yet cast your ballot, the polls will be open here in the East from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. The Secretary of State's website reminds voters that you will need a valid photo ID. That could be a Kentucky driver's license, a military ID, college ID, a Kentucky government ID, or a state-issued ID card. To find out where you can go to vote, you can go to govote.ky.gov.